Welcome back to Redbeard Reviews. I'm Luke, and today we're looking at another DIY option that I did to mount a ditch light facing rearwards on your vehicle. If you know from a previous video, I installed some hood mount ditch light setup from Street Rays. Just a piece of steel mounts right to the bolts of your hood, and it works great. I like that for having that extra light. You're driving off road, you can see more to the corners, or if you're taking a sharp turn and there's no street lights anywhere, things like that, it lights up those corners. I wanted to have the option of more light facing to the rear as well, and so I started thinking, well, what can I do without having to buy like a chase rack or a headache rack, roll bar, something like that you can buy for your pickup, and it'll go up and over. But that's like $400 to $1,200. And I don't really want to add that because I have a tonneau cover on, and I'd have to either eliminate that for a chase rack or something of the nature, or get a completely different one, and I don't feel like spending $1,500 plus for the chase rack, a different tonneau cover, and all that. And I was like, what can I do for cheap? And I already have these light pods laying around, so I said, what can I do just to mount them? So I made a bracket, and that's what I just want to show you, because you could do this on pretty much any pickup, and there's not much out there for a rear mounted ditch light setup. So let's get in close and take a peek. So the best angle I can get you here, because this is pretty tight to my cab slash tight to the bed of the truck. But I just did an S shape or Z shape, what have you, at least for my application. I started off with the idea of having a C shape, but it sat too far back. The whole light setup sat too far back. So I ended up with the S shape. And then, height-wise, I just figured out that this height was gonna be about right. This actually is... can you see that? There's my front ditch light. Here's this one. These are about level. This is very, very close to being the exact same height. So I kind of intentionally tried to get it set up that way. I wasn't too particular with having this the same. And then by the time I got this height figured out, I found out that it was going to be almost even. So it looks like it should be this way. I have this little guy, this C bracket. I bent both of these just with scrap metal that I had. I bent this one because the first time I took it down the road after installing this, I noticed in my rearview mirror I could see the light pod itself jiggling away down the road, both sides. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. So I made another one, just put a little piece of rubber on it so it dampens the vibrations. And there might be something else to do, whether it's a wider piece of metal in the back or changing the angle, something else. But I was working with what I had. And if you really want to do something like this, you can probably do a similar setup or something a little bit different and find what works best for you. I just know that now that I did this, I live on a gravel road, and I go down gravel roads and some pretty beat up roads for hunting, things like that. And this is rock solid now. These are KCs. It's not that important as to what light pod it is. You could put anything you want, or you could even, add another piece of flat or something and have a dual setup if you really wanted. But in this way, it is out of the way. The wiring, I just ran this down, and then there are little clips, just like 3M, festive light, for Christmas lights or something. I just glued those to the under or the back side of my bed. So we're going to see how long those actually hold up and keep that wire in place. But so far, about 2 weeks of having this setup done and on, it works great. And having the light pattern come out away from the pickup, it's really nice. I'll turn them all on here. I'll turn off the lights in the garage and turn it all on just to get an idea what the light spread is like. So going down, I did have to lengthen the wiring because I have the wiring going down here along my bed, and then I run it along the frame rail of my pickup. You know, it's not going to be too interesting if we look under here because you're not really going to be able to see it. I did run it on the inside of my frame rail where I could, you know, keeping it on the outside of the frame rail where my exhaust comes down, and then it just goes up under here, and it comes up and goes to my battery / fuse box. I have that set up that way. Same with these. My switches are already set up in here, 1, 2, 3. Light bar, front ditch lights, rear ditch lights. Simple. So coming back to these, having those set up the way it is, where I put it just on the inside edge of where the bed meets. You know, there's a seam here, and I put it on the inside. I did drill a hole. I was trying to figure out how to get away without doing that. You know, I thought, you know, maybe I could put a piece of flat here and go up, or an angle or something. The problem is this is a pretty small bolt, and I didn't think just a piece of flat going up like a 90 would be strong enough. And obviously after having something like this wasn't strong enough either. So that's a no-go. And then the other thing that I started off with, here's the other idea that I had. This was actually the first idea that I was thinking might work, and it got me going for mounting a ditch light pod onto the back of the pickup without actually drilling into your pickup in any way. This is just a pickup bed clamp for a tonneau cover or a topper, you know, anything like that. They have different attachments that you can put in the bed of your pickup. This is just a clamp. And I thought, oh, you can easily, you kind of twist it and jiggle it and get it around, but you can slide this down in between the bed of, or between the cab and the bed, and get it in there. My bad, sorry. You can get this in there, wiggling it around and getting it down in there, and then clamp it down, and you even can put like a pod or like just a piece of flat or a small C, something here to the bolt that sits there, and then tighten it down from the top, and you don't have to do anything else. Like this would be a no drilling or anything method. The only problem is this is about a 1/2 inch thick that sticks out past the bed of your truck. It gets very close. There was about a 1/4 inch gap, and from some resources online, some forums, I had this idea going on, and some people were saying that there's too much flex between the cab and the bed, and this wouldn't allow enough flex. And I was going, well, you know, there is like 2 fingers worth of space all along, for me at least, on the bed of my pickup all the way around. So I was going, yeah, okay, scrap that idea, go ahead and do this. You know, disclaimer, there is a product out there that is somewhat similar to this. Gods Manufacturing. They have something for the 5th gen Rams. I don't know, you could make it work, but it is a bracket that screws it, or you can screw it in, or you could use some rivets to the inside of your bed, and then it's just an angle that comes like a 90 that comes on your bed, and then it comes up, and there's another little flat area with some drilled spaces on it, and you could bolt that to the inside of your bed. The problem is, you know, I'd have to take off my tonneau cover, put it on, and then it would still sit about right in this area. It looks like it sits more right here, and they want $70 for that piece of metal. So I'm going, you know, this cost me 25 minutes worth of labor to bend this and throw a little bit of paint on. You know, I got like an hour into R&D. It's a no-brainer that this didn't cost me any money. It was just my time for the most part, and I already had this. I had pretty much everything already laying around. I did spend like $30 on these, so I'm out some money for my ideas, but I have these laying around in case I need them for something else. So I'm not really out anything in that case. And this setup works. This sticks it out where I want it. And then, like I said too, it's very secure. It's not going anywhere. I did put rubber underneath both of them just for that added shock absorption, not marring the paint, anything like that. Yeah, I think this is a great combination. I don't know if I'm going to keep these or not. It doesn't throw a lot of light. I got some fog lights for like $50 off of eBay, some LED fog lights, and those things are as bright as all get out. And the KCs that I have, granted, they're probably like 7 years old now, I suppose. Maybe that's why, just older technology, something, but they throw light, just not as much light as I would like. So I might switch these out at some point. It's just that I had them, so this was kind of a free mod. And if you guys are looking for something like this, or you have this idea, this is how I did it. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. Just takes a little bit of time and a drill, really. Well, that's about it for that DIY. Pretty simple, pretty easy. You get more light off-road. I really like it. It's a cheap option. If there's something else out there, let me know. I'm always interested in trying something different. I've switched this pickup up like 4 or 5 different times for the lift height and bumpers and light options, things like that. I'm not getting rid of it anytime soon in my mind, so probably going to have some more fun with it and do something else to it down the road here. Well, that about wraps it up. This is Redbeard Reviews. I'm Luke. Thanks for watching.